Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this edition of AARP Massachusetts Fraud Talk Tuesdays. We're here the second Tuesday of each month from 12 to 12:30, where we discuss a different scam and how you can protect yourself and your family from becoming a victim. My name is Jim Carney, and I'm a volunteer with AARP Massachusetts. And our guest today is David DeForest, who is also a volunteer with AARP Massachusetts, both of us being part of the Speakers Bureau. Since this month marks the 90th anniversary of Social Security, we're going to dive deep into the world of Social Security scams and fraud, drawing on expertise from AARP, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, and the Social Security Administration, or SSA. You'll hear real examples, learn red flags, and walk away with clear steps to protect yourself and your loved ones. You may have joined us today with questions already in mind. If you have, please put them in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, or if questions come up during the presentation, put them into the Q&A. This session is being recorded, and you will receive a link to this recording that you can share with family and friends. At the end of the presentation, we will have a page with links to a number of resources which will also be sent to you. So David, how do Social Security scams start?
Thank you, Jim. Let me give you an example. Right here in Massachusetts, a resident received a call from someone claiming to be from the Social Security Administration, threatening to arrest them due to suspicious activity linked to their Social Security number. The caller demanded immediate payment via gift cards. Recognizing the red flags of urgency and payment by gift cards, the individual hung up and reported the incident to the Social Security Administration, preventing potential financial loss. It's very important to report scam attempts. We'll talk about reporting a little later and have a link on the resources slide on how and where to report.
That's a troubling story. So, what can we do and what should we be aware of if we get a call like this?
When it comes to government scams, whether Social Security, the IRS, Medicare, Medicaid, or most recently with the devastating floods, FEMA scams, criminals will pretend to be from these trusted agencies. They may contact you by phone, text, email, social media, or even postal mail. But there are a number of things that can go a long way to protect yourself, including when it comes to Social Security scams. Here are some key steps. The first thing is to recognize the signs of a scam. They might claim there's a problem, that your Social Security account has been hacked, or your benefits or Social Security card will be suspended. They might also convince you that you are entitled to some sort of extra benefits. All you need to do to correct the problem or get the extra benefit is to verify your personal information. Sometimes beneficiaries receive fake benefit increase calls, asking for a fee or for their Social Security number in order to process a cost of living adjustment known as a COLA. In all these cases, they are tapping into your emotions of fear or excitement, what scammers call getting under the ether, getting you in a heightened emotional state so you are no longer thinking logically, but having your feelings control what you do next. It's a very powerful and effective tool they use. Another important point is that Social Security Administration initiates all contact with recipients by U.S. mail. They may contact recipients by phone, but only after an initial letter or if the recipient requested a phone call from the Social Security Administration.
So David, I see a couple of red flags already. Getting hold of your emotions with threats or promises and asking for personal information. What else?
Their next step is to pressure you to act immediately to avoid arrest or seizing your account. And that is followed by a demand for payment to fix the problem or get the extra benefits. We've seen scammers impersonate law enforcement. They pretend to be a real cop and tell you they have discovered criminal use of your number and demand for money to avoid arrest. They ask for payment in specific ways, such as gift cards, wire transfers, prepaid debit cards, and what is becoming scammers' go-to method, cryptocurrency kiosks, also referred to as crypto ATMs. These payment methods are not used by government agencies, and once payment is made, there's no way of tracking it. The money is gone.
With so many Americans relying on the Social Security benefits, any threat to them can be very scary and trigger our emotions. Do you have any other examples?
I do. Here are some real-world examples of Social Security scams that have affected people recently. The first one we'll call the suspended Social Security number scam. A retiree received a call from someone claiming to be from the Social Security Administration. The scammer says their Social Security number has been suspended due to suspicious activity. The triggered emotion would be fear. They demand immediate payment via gift cards or wire transfers to reactivate it. The reality check here is that Social Security Administration never suspends Social Security numbers or demands payment over the phone. The second example is the overpayment scam. Here's where a scammer called a Social Security recipient claiming they received excess benefits and must repay the amount. They pressured the victim to send money via cryptocurrency or prepaid debit cards. In fact, if you did receive an overpayment, Social Security will contact you by U.S. mail and may request repayment for legitimate overpayments, but they never ask for payment via gift cards or cryptocurrency, and they won't text or email you. This next example involves a phishing email scam. In this case, a person received an email with an official-looking Social Security logo, asking them to verify their Social Security number. The email contained a fake link that led to a fraudulent website. The victim unknowingly entered their personal details, which scammers used for identity theft. In reality, Social Security never asked for sensitive information via email. When you're in the process of retiring, there are a number of things that you need to do, including applying for Social Security. The next example is the fake benefits application scam. Here, the scammer sends a text or email directing a retiree to a fake Social Security Administration benefits application page. The website looks legitimate, but it collects personal data for fraud. You should always apply for benefits through the official Social Security Administration website. We'll have that link on the resource slide. And the final example is the threatening call scam. The scammer called claiming the victim's bank account will be seized unless they provide their Social Security number. They used spoofed caller IDs to appear as legitimate government agents or your own bank. The reality check here is the SSA, Social Security Administration, never threatens legal action or demands immediate payment.
I can see with all these stories how they can trigger your emotions. You mentioned earlier some red flags that can alert you that something is a scam. And in the beginning, I mentioned that you'd cover some clear steps to protect yourself and your loved ones. I know you covered some already, but can you do a quick recap?
Absolutely. First, you need to be vigilant for the warning signs. Number one, are you receiving an unsolicited contact via text, email, phone call, or on your social media account from someone claiming to be from the Social Security Administration, in fact, any government agent? Two, is someone threatening arrest or legal action? Three, is someone requesting immediate payment or personal information? And 4, if is there an offer to increase benefits for a fee? And lastly, and as I said in the beginning, are unofficial communication channels like social media or text messages being used to contact you? All these situations should scream scam.
Absolutely. And how about specific steps to take to stop a scam before it starts?
Some of these steps seem pretty obvious, but in the heat of the moment, when you may be in that frightened emotional state, you can forget them. First, 3 words to start with: verify, verify, verify before you react. Double check the source of communication. Take a breath. This is one of AARP's fraud fighting strategy, to have everyone pause, reflect, and protect. Most scams begin with three red flags: an unexpected contact, a surge of emotion, and a sense of urgency. When you see these signs, take an active pause. This gives you time to process what's happening and can help you avoid fraud. Never share personal information, including your social security number, bank details, or passwords, if you are contacted via phone, email, or text. And just because a phone number on your caller ID looks legitimate, any phone number can be spoofed. You may have even seen your own phone number come up on your caller ID. Avoid clicking links or downloading attachments from unknown sources. They may contain malware that can access personal information you have on your PC, laptop, or other device, including your passwords. If you get a suspicious call or email claiming to be from Social Security, hang up and call Social Security Administration directly at 1-800-772-1213. Another step is to set up my Social Security account at www.ssa.gov/my account and check official Social Security Administration communications by logging into your account. We have that link on the resource slide also. By creating this account, you can monitor your Social Security record and regularly review your Social Security statement for unauthorized activity. If you suspect fraud, place a fraud alert or credit freeze with major credit bureaus. We'll talk about that more in a minute. You can follow the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, or LinkedIn, or subscribe to email alerts on the Social Security Administration website to stay up to date on the latest news and advisories regarding Social Security scams.
Can you talk a little more about putting a credit freeze or credit alert, which you did just mention? I know we covered it last month when our topic was identity theft, but because it is such an important way to protect yourself, I think it's worth repeating.
Definitely. At a minimum, you should consider a credit alert on your file. A fraud alert adds a warning flag to your credit file, forcing lenders to double check your identity before approving anything in your name. This is one of the easiest ways to stop identity thieves. The process takes less than 10 minutes. You only need to place the alert with one of the credit bureaus. So the 3 credit bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You only need to place the alert with one of them, as they are legally required to notify the other 2, providing total coverage with one alert. There are 3 types of fraud alerts. The initial fraud alert lasts 1 year and can be set up by anyone, even if you haven't been scammed. The extended alert lasts 7 years and is for confirmed identity theft victims. You'll need to file a police report or a report at identitytheft.gov. The third is the active duty alert is for military service members, lasts 1 year and is renewable while deployed. When you have a fraud alert on your report, a business must verify your identity before it issues new credit in your name. An even safer step is to set up a credit freeze. A credit freeze stops criminals from opening accounts in your name. It typically prevents companies from accessing your credit report, meaning they can't conduct a credit check or process a credit application. You can maintain the credit freeze even after you've recovered from identity theft. To freeze your credit, you must contact each of the 3 credit bureaus. The credit freeze lasts until you cancel it. If you have a credit freeze in force, but you decide you want to apply for credit, you can unfreeze your credit report for a specific number of days with instructions to refreeze your credit immediately afterward. Typically, unfreezing for 10 days should be enough time to get your new credit application approved. And there are links on the resource slide for these. And finally, report scams immediately. As we said before, until law enforcement knows about a scam, it's hard to stop it.
So where and how should we report it?
We always recommend calling the AARP Fraud Watch Helpline at 877-908-3360. It's a toll-free service available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The helpline is a free resource and open to everyone, regardless of whether or not they are AARP members. You'll be guided through the steps you should take to protect yourself and your finances going forward. You should report it to the Social Security Administration's Office of the Inspector General and to the Federal Trade Commission. Links to both are also on the resource slides. And you can report it to law enforcement and file a police report if needed.
Thank you very much, David. So before we take a look at the resource page, let's see if there are any questions.
I don't see any right yet. Let me check the let me check here for a second. Will we be able to receive proof of attendance for today? Well, no, I don't think so. No, we don't have. We're going to send you a link to the recording and because you have attended, you'll get that link. So that might be one point of verification. Let's see. No, we don't have any other questions. Again, if you do have questions, we have some time here, so please put them into the Q&A, and we will address them as we go here. Let me double check here. Oops, here's something that came in. Q&A right here. Let's see. One person has a question. What is the number for the Inspector General? Actually, to do that, let's go to the resource page for a second. Let me close out of here. And let's go to the resource page and take a look at some of the resources that are available. Oops. Let's get to here. So this resource page has a number of links. The blue areas are links. So if you click on the link, you can go right to that site. For instance, we have the number for the Social Security office. You can call them directly if you have any questions. It's important that if you're on Social Security, that you set up a My Social Security account and go to that website right there. That'll bring you right to it and lead you through the steps to set up My Social Security account. These are the links to the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. If you click on each one of those, it'll bring you to their site. So if you want to freeze your credit or set up a credit alert, you can use that link. But this is when you Google something, if you were to just Google Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, the first couple of entries that come up may not be what you want or what you expect. Those are paid ads that somebody has paid to have come up first. These links here we have verified and we know they go right to their sites. The Federal Trade Commission, if you have other questions on how to freeze your credit, here's a link to the Federal Trade Commission, and they can lead you through the steps also of how to freeze your credit as well as set up a credit alert. IdentityTheft.gov from the Federal Trade Commission will help you report and recover from identity theft. So one, you can report, and two, they will give you specific steps on how to recover from identity theft. We posted this last month when we talked specifically about identity theft. Other resources that are available from AARP in particular here, we have something called a peer support group. Losing money in a scam is devastating, but also as devastating can be the emotional trauma that you go through experiencing being victimized by a scam. These support groups meet a number of times a day throughout the week. Here's a link that you can connect. So if you or you know somebody who has been victimized, or even if you're not the victim yourself, but you want to support somebody, you can sign up and attend one of these victim support groups. They run about an hour. They're on Zoom, and we know some people go onto these sites, and you have to actually have your camera on too. They want to know who they're speaking with and to. But some people go to these sites and these group sessions, and maybe for the first one or two times, they just listen. And then they're ready to start to share their story. And sharing your story is one of the first steps in healing. So we encourage, if you know someone who's been victimized and is having some trouble dealing with the emotional trauma, this is a great resource. You can check out also, because we do Fraud Talk Tuesdays once a month, we have about 25 recordings out on our Massachusetts YouTube channel. Here's a link that you can access all 20, I think there's about 25 of them out there, and watch them at your leisure. Share them with family and friends. Fraud is always out there. It's always morphing, and it can always catch you off guard. As David said, and you should also always report frauds to the AARP Fraud Watch helpline at 877-908-3360. You can also access the Fraud Watch network that AARP has up online, and there's a link to that. And if you listen to podcasts, here's a podcast you might be interested in. It's called Distraught Veteran Loses Savings in a Social Security Scam. These podcasts run about 35 to 40 minutes. They talk to the actual person who was scammed. They talk to law enforcement folks who've helped people work through the problems. And there's a number of podcasts covering all types of scams. So if you're into podcasts, this is a great resource for you. Let me check one more time. It looks like we might have another question that has come in. Let's see. With changes happening in government to Medicare and Social Security, will there be potential new ways for a scam? You know, scammers constantly look for new things. They like I think David mentioned, with all the crises going around in the country, if it's tornadoes or fires or hurricanes or earthquakes, these scammers watch the news and they're ready to pounce. And they will do whatever they can to try to get people, quote, under the ether in a heightened emotional state so that people react quickly, provide information, or send money. So are there going to be new scams? I think that's a sure bet that they're looking at this. Yes. We know that Social Security is celebrating their 90th birthday this week, and people are aware of that. The scammers are aware of that, and they're going to play on that information. Another question is what's the number of the Federal Trade Commission? If you click on the link here, you can go right to the Federal Trade Commission, and they have tons of resources, probably including their phone number. I haven't looked at it lately, but you can contact them through that website. The inspector, I'm not sure the Inspector General for which agency. Again, if you Google Inspector General for and then put the name of the agency, make sure that whatever comes up is really what you want, and it is not some link that somebody has put up. You oftentimes have to scroll down 3 or 4, sometimes 5 entries to find actually the right site that you want to go to. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions here. Oh, here's one. Someone from Medicare called and asked if I received my new Medicare card. I received that same one the other day too. They asked for my Medicare number. Is there a way that the scammers can use your Medicare number? They sure can. I got that call, and I do have a lot of volunteer work with Medicare, so I know this is a scam. And they calling it, did you get your new Medicare card? And I, of course, said, oh my gosh, no, I didn't. And I know they didn't send them out. Medicare is not sending out new cards. And they said they want to confirm that it was in Part A and Part B. And then they wanted to know my start date. And I said, wait a minute, if you're calling from Medicare, you should know my start date. You tell me. At that point, they hung up. It's important that you question. And actually, the best way of staying safe from scams is don't answer the phone unless you actually know who is calling. If it's that important and you don't answer, people will leave a message on your voicemail. So yeah, so this I don't know who's running this, but I always say, are you calling from Medicare? And they're very careful. I'm calling from the Medicare Resource Center. They never say they're calling directly from Medicare. So they're being a little careful so they don't get caught. See, I don't see any other. Let's see, maybe there are a few more here. Let's see. No, that pretty much sums up our questions here. So yeah, when you receive calls from, like David said, if you get a call from a government agency, whether it be Medicare, Social Security, that's not how these government agencies contact you. It is, just like David said, it just screams the word scam. So, and on that note, I think if there are no more questions, Jim, you want to finish up?
Yes. Thank you, Dennis. That very helpful. So, David, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yes, to always be vigilant, be aware, and watch for the red flags that we talked about. Those are the keys to spotting a scam, I think, I would say.
That's right. That definitely, we have to remain vigilant always. So, thanks, David, for this valuable Social Security scam information. Education, information, and awareness is the key to staying safe from fraud. And tune in for our September Fraud Talk Tuesday, which will be on September 9th at 12 o'clock. In celebration of Grandparents' Day in September, we'll help to protect your parents, grandparents, or any loved ones from fraud. Whether you're a caregiver, concerned child or grandchild, or simply want to stay informed, this webinar will equip you with tools and insights to fight back against fraud. Let's honor our elders by helping keep them safe. And remember, if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. So thank you for joining us today, and have a good rest of your day. Okay, I guess we're done.
Thank you, Jim.
Good job.
Thank you, you too. Good. We'll see you. Bye.
All right, take care.